Good afternoon. Welcome to the SCV Chamber's COVID-19 Resource Webinar Series. I'm Peter Warda with the SCV Chamber and will be hosting today's webinar. We will have a Q&A session at the conclusion of the presentation. If you wish to ask a question, please use the chat feature located at the bottom right of your control panel. Simply click at the bottom where it says question, type in your question, press enter when it's done. Your question will go to the host. As a reminder, no need to wait till we get to the Q&A session. Go ahead and input your questions as they come up, and we will keep track of them all. If during the call you're experiencing difficulty, please email hello@scvchamber.com. We're monitoring that email live during the webinar to assist participants. Again, everyone joining the call is on mute, and questions will be received via the chat feature located at the bottom right of your control panel. We'll begin momentarily.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Peter, can you confirm that you can hear me okay?
I can hear you, Roger.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, welcome everybody. I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. I'm very excited to be with all of you today. We're going to be talking a little bit about this COVID-19 situation and how it has affected all of us business owners and entrepreneurs. And we're going to talk about some ideas on what we could do to progress forward in these times and not only survive, but also thrive by looking for and taking advantage of the opportunities that are and will present themselves. So that said, I'll do a quick introduction for those of you that don't know me. I am Roger Doumanian. I am a local business attorney. I'm licensed here in California and Texas. I'm also a business coach and consultant based right here in Valencia, California. I do people development training as well as I'm a published author. I have a book called The 6 Pillars of Business Success, Doing Business Right. I'm sure that some of you have a copy of it or have heard of it. And I do a lot of public speaking as well on various topics in business. I would love to connect with all of you. I am on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Roger Doumanian and I should pop right up. So, without further ado, let's jump into some of the topics today and talk, because we've got about 43 minutes left, and then I'll be taking some questions from all of you. I'm excited to hear what you have to ask today. So that said, let's hop on to work. First and foremost, I want to take a minute just to thank the Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to put this to be one of the panelists or the panelist for this particular event. And thank you guys so much for all the hard work you're doing to keep us all informed and up to date. I'm very excited to be a part of the Chamber, and those of you who are not members yet, I strongly encourage you to join. You can find the membership link on scvchamber.com, and that way we'll get an opportunity to meet in person, hopefully at the next event once all this has blown over. All right, so that said, let's talk a little bit about what's going on today. I just want to start out by reminding all my friends and business owners that you are not alone in this situation. This is something that obviously we are all in together. It has affected all of us, but because we're in it together, we will also persevere together. Just a reminder that when life gave us oceans, we built ships. And when life gave us canyons, we built bridges. And when life gave us storms, we built shelters. Mankind has always persevered, and with God's help, we will persevere once again. And from every calamity, we've emerged stronger, smarter, and better than ever before, and this one is going to be no exception. So just keep in mind that we're all pushing together, and we will get through this together. So just a thought on that, and let's see here. I want to get into talking to you a little bit about where you should be and what you should be doing in a time like this. I understand that it's very, very easy to get overwhelmed by what we're hearing on the news, by what we're seeing posted on social media. All of a sudden, I don't know about your friends, but all of my friends are all of a sudden scientists and expert news reporters, and I'm hearing all kinds of things from everyone, and it becomes very overwhelming. and it can be a very big distraction, and really it becomes easy to lose focus. So I just want to go into some actions that you should be taking right now as a business owner, because the actions that you take will determine the impact that COVID-19 will have on your business. So that said, this is a very important time for us to be courageous and not fearful, right? There's so much going on out there. A lot of it is true. I don't in any way want to diminish the seriousness of the COVID-19 problem or the coronavirus disease at all, but I do want you to know that not everything we hear is real. There is some twists out there on some things that are being said. So just be careful on how much time you spend on the news, and don't get caught up in the fear, because that is the worst thing that you could do right now. It's really going to hold you back. It's really going to cause problems for your business, and you're just not going to have your focus in the right place. This is a time to be courageous. So I would advise you not to allow fear to overcome you. This is also a time for action, not inaction. I know that we tend to freeze when we're in the midst of a dilemma and we don't have the answers. And it's human nature, right? But this is definitely not the time that you want to get into this state of inaction, just sitting there waiting for your issues to go away. This is a time for you to get actively involved in your business like never before, because your business needs it. And on that note, this is also a time to be proactive and not reactive. What do I mean by that? A lot of us will tend to wait until the problem comes knocking on our door before we tackle it on. I would advise you in these times to be proactive and start watching for the potential issues that are going to rise for your business, and start taking action on those before the time has come for you to react, because the consequences have already come to pass. If you're proactive in times like this, you will always stay ahead of the challenges that are coming your way, and you're going to end up being much better prepared when those challenges do come your way. So this is definitely a time to be proactive. It's definitely a time to be active, to take action, and not a time for you to just get caught up in the day-to-day messages that are flying around everywhere. Focus is very, very critical at this time. This is also a time for communication, not hibernation. Because we have, a lot of us have this tendency to sit down in front of the television and listen to the news, or get caught up in what everybody is saying about COVID-19. We tend to want to hibernate. We tend to get frustrated, worried, concerned, and then what happens is we stop communicating with our customers, with our clients. And this is definitely a time to be constantly communicating with your client base. This is a time for you to reassure them that you're still around, and that you're still taking care of whatever it is that you do for them. This is a time for you to let them know that you're there for them if they need help from you, because they're going to remember what you did for them in the midst of this crisis. So this is a time that they need to hear from you continually on an ongoing basis. This is a time where if you can afford to discount your services to help them out, this is a great time to do that. This is, the other day I got a text from Verizon Wireless, which surprises me, because Verizon Wireless, I've been with them for since they started, and I've never had a generous text like that from them. And they sent me a text that said, hey, we're giving you 15 gigs of extra bandwidth this month, and it's going to cost you absolutely nothing. Now, I know we're not all Verizon, and we don't have Verizon's budget, but there are little things you can do for your clients that mean a lot to them at a time. So communicate, communicate, communicate. The worst thing you can do is have a lack of communication with your customers, with your clients. Because guess what? Other companies, other business owners who are proactive, they're going to see that as an opportunity to take your clients away from you, to market to them, to advertise to them. And if you've disappeared and you've gone silent, that's going to have its consequences on your business. So definitely a time for you to communicate. Don't hibernate. I think I see a typo there. All right, this is a time for analysis, not paralysis. What do I mean by that? You're going to hear a lot of things about COVID-19. You're going to hear a lot of things about what the government's going to do for us business owners. You're going to hear a lot of things about the consequences of taking loans from the government and the ramifications of owing money and not paying your mortgage for a few months. All kinds of things are floating around on the internet. Please don't get caught up in everything that's being said. Instead, analyze the situation for yourself. Look at the situation we're in right now. Look at what this disease is like, who it affects, how it affects them. Look at what other businesses have done in times of crisis and how those models or those actions that they took would help your business. Analyze this situation from every angle for yourself. Don't allow what you hear about it to paralyze you. So this is a time for analysis, not paralysis. If you've got a pen and paper, please write these things down. These are very important for you on an ongoing basis, because what will happen is, I know a lot of people right now that are emotional. They're kind of a roller coaster going everywhere, right? So they have 1 minute they feel strong and courageous, the next minute they're having doubts and they have questions and they're fearful, and then the next minute they're courageous. These are going to be good things for you to note down and just remind yourself. If you've got a notepad and a pen, write them down. This is a time to be courageous and not fearful. This is a time for action, not inaction. This is a time to be proactive and stay ahead of the challenges and not react to them when they come towards you. This is a time for proactive, not reactive. This is definitely a time to continually communicate with your clients and not to go into hibernation. It's a time for communication, not hibernation. And this is a time for analysis, not paralysis. Analyze the COVID-19 coronavirus situation for yourself. There's a lot of information out there. Some of it is accurate, some of it is just made up, some of it is just confusion. Don't take everything you hear on Twitter or Facebook or on the news as accurate. Just do your homework, analyze the situation, and get your answers yourself so that you don't become paralyzed by what you're hearing. And then, of course, if you're a person of faith, this is definitely a time for prayer and not panic. Prayer has always been good to me, and for those of you who are like me will understand what I'm talking about. Good time for prayer and not panic. Okay, so that said, let's talk a little bit about the bright side of this whole thing. There is opportunity in the midst of crisis. There always has been, there always will be. Every calamity brings forth new opportunities, and COVID-19 is definitely no exception. You have to focus on and look for, you have to focus, just focus and look for them, and you'll find them. Here are just a few examples. So what I did is I randomly picked different business models and just threw out a question of, okay, what do I do in the midst of this situation? And I just shared some ideas, and these are just very basic, simple food for thought ideas, okay? Because there's two ways we can look at this thing, right? We can say, okay, I'm a fitness trainer, where is my opportunity? I can't go to my gym, I can't train my people, nobody wants to come in, I can't go to their homes because nobody wants anybody in their house. What do I do? Where is my opportunity? Well, just off the top of my head, I would say, how about a daily webinar to help people overcome the temptation of stuffing their faces during the quarantine, followed by a 30-minute workout? Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I think I've gained at least 5 pounds since I've been spending more time at home. So how about doing a webinar online on a daily basis, maybe a couple of them a day, charge $5 per day per person? What a deal, right? They come on, they learn from a professional fitness trainer how to eat right during these times of stress, during these times of quarantine and boredom, and then a great 30-minute workout that will actually help you burn some of those calories that we've been eating, or they've been eating this entire time. So that's just the point I'm trying to make here is, look, you got to think outside the box. Because you're a trainer and you can't go into the gym to train people or to train with people, and you can't come to their place, it doesn't mean that your talents have diminished, right? You just have to find a different avenue through which to deliver your talents. It's very important to understand that sometimes we just have to take our talents and distribute them through a different channel. And COVID-19 is one of those situations. We have to take our talents and just distribute them through a different channel. How about if you're an estate planning attorney? Where's your opportunity? Well, times like this make people think. Highlight the benefits of being prepared with a will and a trust. Focus on educating people and the results on your bottom line, and watch the results on your bottom line. So, yes, I know that it takes time to educate people. It takes time to inform. It takes time to ensure, to inform people, to reach them through different channels. But what you have to also understand is that people remember who helped them out in situations like this. There's no greater time than downtime to market your business, and getting out there and letting people know that, hey, you know, life is fragile, life is delicate. As we can see, so much of life is out of our hands and out of our control as we're seeing this global pandemic take place right now. And this is a good time for you to think as a family, have I taken all the measures and the steps to prepare a will, prepare a trust, prepare my family in case something happens to me in the midst of a crisis like this, right? So that's a great marketing tool for an estate planning attorney. Again, it's about, do I sit at my office and twiddle my thumbs and wonder when the calls are going to come in, or if the calls are going to come in, or let alone if I'm going to be able to pay my bills tomorrow, April 1st, and focus on how do you generate a buzz for your business and let people know, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here working for you, trying to protect you, your family, whatever it is that you do as a service. It's a great way to remind people that you're still there for them. So let's look at a couple more examples, and then we'll move on to some other points that I want to make here. I'm a videographer. Where's my opportunity? Well, the world of YouTube is at your fingertips, and your audience is in the millions. What about you kill two birds with one stone and make some videos from home to promote local businesses during the crisis, because Lord knows they need that help right now, and show off some of your work at the same time. Maybe you can gift those videos to the businesses, but make sure that your ads are included in the footage. Because since those businesses need the exposure right now, they're going to do everything they can to promote those videos that you created for them. And at the same time, they're going to be promoting you because your name is in the footage. Again, I know this isn't going to pay the bills, but it is going to pay off down the line during the aftermath. There is a whole aftermath to COVID-19, my friends. This is going to pass, and after this, people are going to need services. People are going to need support. Because if I'm an attorney and I can't advertise right now because I have to put everything on hold because my clients have put everything on hold, right? The minute that this is over, I'm going to have to put my budget right back into my advertising and get caught up with all the time that I lost during the downtime. And I'm still going to need the services of those who provide advertising for me, per se, right? So it's a good time, even if you can't find a way to make money like you used to yesterday, it's a good time for you to create exposure so you can catch up tomorrow, because tomorrow is coming and it will be a brighter day. So one more example. I'm a restaurant owner. Where's my opportunity? Well, again, you guys are in a tough position right now, but a lot of us love your food. We love what you do for this community, and we're not ready to let you go yet. So what about what better way to succeed than to feed the needy? How about a buy one, give one promo right now? Every meal your customers order for takeout, you drop off a meal for someone in need at no charge. Do this and watch what will happen to your reputation after this crisis, right? So again, I'm trying to make the point here of thinking outside the box, because the last thing I want to see is that, or hear is that, you guys didn't know what to do, you panicked, and then next thing you know, you're shutting your doors. I'm already hearing some doors being shut for local businesses here, and it's heartbreaking because I love small business. And if you know me, you know that I live by the motto that small business is the backbone of America. So every time one of you guys decides to throw the towel in, I find that very heartbreaking. So I can tell, along with my friends over at the chamber, we're going to do everything we can to help everyone we can to survive this, and not only survive, but take advantage of opportunities to grow. So take some time, and in a little bit, I'm going to give you a 7-step process on how to survive and thrive. But before I get there, just let me open that up with this. Take some time to think. Take some time to look at new avenues to get to to make ends meet, right? They're out there, they just require thought. And the worst thing you can do is go into a state of fear and panic right now. And how you get to fear and panic is if you sit in front of the TV all day waiting to find out what happens. You know what? Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's all going to work itself out at the end. And yes, we are losing people. Yes, these are very tough times. And yes, they can be heartbreaking and depressing, but you gotta persevere in times like this. You can't accept defeat. You can't let go, because if you fight, you will win. We will win. All of us will win together. So please don't get caught in a state of panic. Don't get caught in a state of worry. Don't get caught in a state of fear. You can overcome all of that. Focus on what you're doing with your business today and what you need to be doing every day moving forward in order for you to find success. So let's talk a little bit about what I call the 7 R's of crisis management. This is the step-by-step guide that I created for you to develop a strategy for survival and success. When my clients, I do a lot of coaching, one-on-one coaching and group coaching for clients, and when they are in a crisis situation, I always want to slow them down a little bit and walk them through these 7 steps so that they can actually analyze what they're dealing with and make necessary changes to adapt to the day and the time that they are living. So let's get into this and take a look at these one by one, okay? So number 1 step 1 is refresh. I'll go through the 7 steps first, and then I'll give you details on each one, okay? Step 1 is refresh. Step 2 is reorganize. Step 3 is review. Step 4 is reevaluate. Step 5 is restructure. Step 6 is redeploy. And step 7 is repeat. I'll repeat those one more time for those of you who might be taking notes, and I hope that's a lot of you, and then I'll get into each of these in more detail. Step number 1 is refresh. Step number 2 is reorganize. Step number 3 is review. Step number 4 is reevaluate. Step number 5 is restructure. Step number 6 is redeploy. And step number 7 is repeat. All right, let's get into a little more detail on these. What does refresh look like? Take some time to refresh and relax your mind. A panicked or worried mind cannot make wise decisions. Remember that you're the key to success for your business. Therefore, you need to be at the top of your game during times of crisis. Take some time alone, whether you sit in the backyard listening to the birds chirp, or you go for a long walk and clear your mind. You're going to need to have a fresh start. Ralph Marston said, "Rest when you're weary, refresh and renew yourself, your body, your mind, and your spirit. Then get back to work." Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Step number 2 is reorganize. Once you're refreshed, you need to reorganize. You want to start with your thoughts first, then move on to your operations. Reorganize your desk, your office, your files, your emails, and your schedule. Things are not going to be the same for a little while. It's a time to adjust. So maybe you've got a lot of work that you've neglected that's piled up on your desk. Maybe your office or your home office has become a mess. Maybe things are upside down right now because you have to up and lift everything up from your office and make an office in your bedroom, and things are just piled up. Relax a little bit, reorganize, restructure, because this is a critical step to what's coming up, restructuring. So reorganize everything, but start with your thoughts. Your thoughts are very important. They play a key role in the success of this strategy, right? Your mind is critical to success. If those of you who've read my book, the 6 pillars of business success. I know you've read, I have a whole chapter dedicated to your mental, physical, and spiritual preparedness for business. And your mind is critical. So once you start reorganizing, you want to make sure that you're reorganizing your thoughts first, because in the midst of crisis, our thoughts tend to run rampant and they could be all over the place. Just bring it all back in. Hopefully by now, by the time you're at Reorganize, you've had a great opportunity to refresh a little bit, go for that walk, spend some alone time, think about what we're going through and where you fit in and how you need to reposition yourself, clear your mind a little bit, and then now it's reorganize time. Reorganize your thoughts, reorganize your life, reorganize your office, reorganize everything that is out of place. This is a good time to bring it into place. Why? You may say, well, this is not the time for that. I have to be focusing on other things. Let me tell you, when you get organized, you start seeing more clearly. Clarity comes with organization. And when you start seeing more clearly, you start seeing priorities. You start seeing what needs to be prioritized, what needs to be delegated, and what needs to be abandoned altogether. So reorganization is a critical step. William Paley said, there's a certain amount of disorder that has to be reorganized. All right, next, step 3, let's take a look at review. Once you've reorganized, it's time to review and analyze your current situation. Ask yourself questions like this. What am I currently spending money on, and is it essential? Because this is not a time for you to be wasting money on things you don't need to be wasting. But I'm very cautious to talk about this point, and let me tell you why. Because when we panic when it comes to money, we tend to start cutting out things without thinking about the consequences or their importance, and we end up cutting out things that really were benefiting our business and not a waste of money. That's why it's very important for you to refresh first and then reorganize and then start this review process. Because as you are looking at the different expenditures, different things that you're putting out, the different amounts of money that you're putting out there, you want to carefully analyze what it is you're putting that money into. You don't want to run out and cut out all your advertising and now you have zero visibility online. That's really going to hurt your business. Okay, you want to look for what could actually be deemed a luxury, right? So if you've got the Ferrari in the garage, you know, and you decide to take it out for a drive these days just because there's no one in the streets and you can do 110, and the gas money and the ticket you're going to get on all that, that may be luxury. But same thing in your business, right? All kidding aside, let's take a look at what it is that you are actually spending your money on, and is it absolutely necessary? It's critical that you, I'm sorry guys, give me 1 second. I don't know why, I forgot to unplug my phone and it keeps going off, and there it goes, I just unplugged it. So it's essential for you to look at what it is that you're about to cut out and make sure that it is something that you can live without. Primarily luxury, then unnecessary. Last, I mean, if there's no money, the last thing should be the critical things like advertising and promoting your business, because that is your lifeline, that is your bread and butter. Okay, so that said, let's take a look at also questions like, where is my focus and does it need to be redirected? Are you at this moment in crisis mode focused on the right things? Because focus is going to be critical in order for you to be able to pull through this and to be able to make right decisions and also to see opportunities, right? We talked about opportunities that are hidden right now in the midst of this situation, but you never see those opportunities unless you're focused. So you want to ask yourself, where is my focus and does it need to be redirected? Because if your focus is on the wrong thing, then you're going to put all your energy into the wrong thing and you're not going to see the results that you're hoping for. Also ask yourself, what products and services am I offering and are they suitable for times of crisis? A lot of us offer products and services, right? So in my law office, for example, I do a lot of corporate formation. And new business startups. So right now, that's not booming, obviously, right? Very few people are starting new businesses. I'm not going to say nobody is. There are a lot of brave souls out there, and they're starting them, and I'm so proud of them and excited to work with them. But not everybody is. That portion of my business is not booming right now, but other portions of my law office are. There are certain areas that people need me for right now, particularly guidance, particularly instructions, connections. In my office, I do mainly business transaction. I don't do employment law, but I get a lot of calls right now from panicked clients who don't know what to do and how to react to the whole employment law situation. So what I've done is I've established relationships with other attorneys that specialize in that focus on that. So at least I'm able to get some answers and then put them with the right attorneys to do that. I am all about being a service for my clients in a time of crisis, not just about sales. And that is what they'll remember. And when time comes back to a situation where people are going to launch businesses and start new companies, they're going to remember me because of that effort that I put in for them. But even other products, even other services that I provide, whether through the coaching or the law, I right now is a time for me to restructure those a little bit and make versions of those services that are focused on today and the crisis at hand, that help my clients on what's going on here today and the crisis at hand. So just some thoughts for you to think about. What opportunities are presenting themselves in the midst of crisis? We talked about this earlier, right? Don't just sit there and say, hey, I'm a trainer and now I can't train. What do? I can't pay my bills. There's always something you can do. You are talented, you are gifted, right? There's a reason why those clients come to you, to help them look better and feel better and eat better and live better, right? Because you have that gift. Now, all you need to do is find a new channel through which to distribute that gift. Don't get stale, don't get caught up, don't hibernate, don't freeze, don't get stuck in fear. There's always a way for you to do that. Look for the opportunities that are presenting themselves in the midst of this crisis. Plato said twice and thrice over, as they say, good is it to repeat and review what is good. Man, that was a mouthful. All right, number 4, let's take a look at reevaluate. After you successfully review your current situation, reevaluate everything from a different perspective, particularly from a crisis management viewpoint. Reevaluate the effectiveness of your marketing, your customer service approach, and what it would take to develop products or services that are more suitable for today instead of waiting for everything to go back to yesterday. That, my friends, is the entrepreneurial spirit. And I'll say that again today, one more time, okay, that last part. Try to figure out what it would take to develop products or services that are more suitable for today instead of waiting for everything to go back to yesterday. That is the entrepreneurial spirit. Sometimes, in order for change to be made in a positive fashion, we must force ourselves to look unblinkingly at painful realities and reevaluate. Jeffrey Boyer Chapman said that. All right, let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is critical. It's time to restructure. Now is a time to restructure your business. A thorough review and reevaluation process gives you the pathway to restructure your business and operations and charts the course to navigate new waters. This restructure may be temporary, but in some instances, the outcome for some of you is going to be such a positive one that you probably choose to make it permanent and never go back to the way you did business. The key to successfully restructuring is to ask yourself, how can I best lead those who follow me, i.e. your employees and people who work for you, and serve those who count on me, i.e. your customers and clients, during the time of crisis? One more time. The key to successfully restructuring is to ask yourself, how can I best lead those who follow me and serve those who count on me during this time of crisis? That, my friends, is the heart of a humble servant. My good friend and author Farshad Asal once said, he said, this is a time to stop selling and start serving. All right, step 6 is to redeploy. Once you've done all of the above and restructured your business to cater to the needs of your clients and target audience for the present and near future, the time has come to redeploy. After you've done all that hard work, don't just sleep on your new plan. This is a place where I notice a lot of business owners get hung up. They create a new plan, they do all the legwork, and then they just fail to implement and launch. Don't do that. You must muster the energy to go out there and leave your mark on the world that needs your newly structured products and services and your new attitude of servant leadership. It's easy to fall back into fear and paralysis right before a major battle, but fear doesn't stand a chance against courage. Don't get caught up. Once you've done all the work, get out there. Let people know, hey, you know what? We have catered our services. We have catered our products to cater to your needs today. And tomorrow, if we need to change them back to a different way, we will. But today, we're going to focus on what you need today. And we're going to deliver the best that we can, given the circumstances. A good plan, violently executed now, is better than a perfect plan next week. General George S. Patton said that. All right, so let's talk about repeat. Now, if your strategy doesn't produce the results that you were hoping for, repeat the process until it does. This is a time of trial and error. Keep trying, keep what works, dump what doesn't. This is the attitude that will help your business survive and thrive in a time of crisis. Guy Finley said, "Nothing in the universe can stop you from letting go and starting over." Now, I want to take a few minutes here since we've got the time and share a story with you guys. In 2008, 2009, I was the CEO of a technology company. Mainly our services were digital marketing and web development. And we had clients I had built that business in my garage with $150 in my pocket. And at that time, we had clients on 6 different continents and maybe at least 7 or 8 US states. And we had some really good clients paying us some really good money. I mean, I had a staff at that time of 9 people, and we had a 3,300 square foot office, and we had started a printing division, and we were printing and we had a graphic design division. I mean, business was at its peak. We were a full service company. And then the disaster hit in 2008, 2009, and we had about 90% of our clients cancel literally within weeks from each other. And I know some of you are experiencing this out there right now. And what do? I mean, I had all these mouths to feed. I had the responsibility of paying for the overhead, the rent, and payroll and all of that. What do you do in a situation when you're caught and you've just suddenly lost 80, 90% of your income? Well, we had to regroup. We had to rethink. We had to refresh. We did the seminars, and we finally came up with a plan that said, hey, okay, nobody wants marketing right now, and nobody wants, and this is why I said, don't make marketing the first thing you cut out, because that's what most people cut out, and it hurts them at the end. But since nobody wanted new websites and nobody wanted any advertising or marketing, what could we do? Well, we realized that one of the things that people were doing after thinking about it a little bit was, if they're not building new websites, it means they're holding on to their old websites, right? And if they're holding on to their websites, that means that somebody needed to at least update those and maintain them for them. So what we did is we decided to start an online business only called WeMaintainYourWebsite.com. And we started offering website maintenance for $39.95 per hour. And we put this thing on the web. We dumped a little bit of money that we had into Google advertising. And next thing you know, we started getting calls from everywhere in the country for people asking us to do simple maintenance for us. But here's the funny thing. Even in the midst of crisis, about 6 months into it, most of the maintenance clients that we picked up ended up hiring us to rebuild their website, because we helped them realize how poorly they were developed or what condition they were in. But doing that maintenance, we ended up picking up hundreds of clients doing that. And during that We Maintain Your Website season, we completely saved our company from bankruptcy. But guess what? We had to take some desperate measures for desperate times. I had to close the office. I had to cut a portion of my staff, unfortunately. I had to keep the critical employees, move them to my house, set up office in my garage, and build the business back up from ground up. Sometimes you have to take a few steps back to be able to take a giant leap forward. So I just want to remind you that this isn't the end, my friends. This is just an opportunity for your skin to get a little thicker. This is just an opportunity for you to learn to think outside of the box quickly in crisis mode and come up with solutions. It's great exercise and makes you a much better business owner, much better entrepreneur, and hopefully a much better person. So that's the 7 R's, and I hope that that was helpful for you. I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here and tell you a little bit about my book, just a few minutes. For those of you who are quarantined right now and you're going crazy, this is a great time for you to sharpen your business skills. It's a great time to read some books. It's a great time. It's a much better choice than to sit down and watch the news and freak out. It's a great time for you to pick up a book or two, read some books on leadership, read some books on corporate organization, some business organization, finances, the legal aspects of business. My book, The 6 Pillars of Business Success, covers the key aspects of business. It covers the legal, the financial, the HR, marketing, production, and customer service. I usually sell this for $19.95 online for both the ebook and the print version. I asked Amazon to lower the price of the ebook to $1.99 right now, so all of you at home can download it, and that barely covers my cost and their cost, but I just want to help everybody out right now. Great read, very easy to read, and those of you who have the book, I'm sure that you are you can attest to that. It's helped a lot of people, and I would love that if it helps you as well. Take a moment. If you go to 6pillarsbooks.com, it'll take you right to the Amazon page where you can buy the book, and you can either order the ebook, download it right away for $1.99, or you can buy the paperback, which is still at regular price at this time. But I hope you find that helpful, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it if you get an opportunity to read it. So let's take a few moments here. I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, but let's take a few moments here. I would love to hear some of your questions and answer them for you. If Peter can jump back online, if you're ready, Peter, and collect some of those questions, we'll go ahead and get started on answering them.
Perfect. Thank you, Roger, again for the presentation. We will now, excuse me, begin the Q&A session. So as a reminder, if you do have any questions, please use the chat box below, and we'll be able to take your questions. Roger, the first one we have is, how do we take advantage of opportunities when we are shorthanded due to employees who are staying home because of COVID-19?
All right, very good question. Thank you for sharing that with me, Peter. So that's a good question. I would say go back to the old analogy of go for the low-hanging opportunities, the low-hanging fruit, right? So if you remember what I said with my story, right? I had 9 or 10 employees. I had to bring that down to a team of 4 essential people. And was it hard? Yes. Was it a lot more work? Yes. Did we survive? Yes. Did we grow back out to the same number of employees? Yes. Literally within a year and a half, we were right back where we were before the crisis, right? You got to learn to always reach for the closest opportunities, the ones that you can handle with the team that you have right now, the ones that you can address, the ones that you can keep and deliver what you promise. Don't overdo it. Don't jump after the opportunities that you're just simply not equipped for right now. I mean, in my businesses in the past, there have always been opportunities for me to take advantage of, even times of non-crisis, that I was just not prepared for. They were too big for me, or they required too much of my attention. Some opportunities you're going to lose out on due to limitations, but that's okay, because you'll still survive and thrive if you focus on the opportunities that you can handle currently with the staff and the team power that you have in place right now. hopefully that answers the question.
Perfect. Next question is, if I'm reaching out to my clients to promote my services or new direction, how do I make sure that I'm not overselling during a difficult time?
Sure. That's a very good question. I love that, and I'm grateful you asked that. I think it goes back to what my friend Farshad had said. This is a time to serve and not to sell. You know, in the past week, I picked up my cell phone and I've called a lot of my clients, especially those in the restaurant business, and I have a lot of them. And I just called them just to say, hey, how are you doing? How is your family? How is your workplace? Are you surviving? What can you do? Hey, why don't you cater for us Wednesday? Let me help you a little bit. When your heart is about helping people first, and when your approach is about helping people first, you would be surprised at the good that comes out of that, and the benefit that comes out of that. And that does have a positive impact on your bottom line. But you also, a lot of us have difficulty selling our services because we think that we're pushing a service or a product at someone because we don't give value to what it is that we do. Okay, as a coach, I can say, hey, you know what? I just talk to people for an hour and they pay me money. Or I can say, you know what? I help people navigate the most difficult situations in their lives and or help them achieve their dreams that otherwise they lack the resources and the guidance and the expertise to achieve. Therefore, when I offer to coach for you, I'm not just trying to sell you something, I am trying to help you succeed with something you've worked so hard to achieve, or something that you've been dreaming about making a reality for a long time. Look at your services. When you go through this whole 7 R's thing that I explained, and you analyze what you do and you try to restructure your services for a time such as this, you'll find the right way to introduce your products and people will, or services, and people will gladly embrace what you're selling.
Perfect, thank you. Next question is, what opportunities or suggestions do you have for nonprofits who are struggling to fundraise with major events being postponed or canceled?
Yes, a lot of my nonprofit friends are in a predicament right now because everybody's trying to figure out how they're going to take care of their own bills, their own finances, let alone be able to donate to the cause. I would say the following things. Number one, when you go through the 7 R's, even for your nonprofit, try to cut all unnecessary expenses right now so that you can sustain. Number two is communicate, communicate, communicate. Communicate with your base, okay? And your story always has power. So number three is make sure you're sharing your stories of what your nonprofit does, okay? When you pull at people's heartstrings, no matter how tight their budget is right now, people will still open their wallets and their purses and donate and help out. I work with a nonprofit, a couple of nonprofits actually, and one of them is World Vision. My wife and kids and I, we sponsor a child in Honduras, and we just received a magazine from them that said, hey, gift ideas for your child. And it had been sitting on my desk for a week, and I finally had some time. I opened it, and it had pictures of kids carrying a little lamb or a sheep or like 2 little chicks in their hands. And that was the gifts that those kids wanted. They didn't want Nintendo or Xbox or whatever we're at now. See, I just gave my age away. I said Nintendo. But they didn't want these fancy toys or the iPhones and stuff that we've given our kids. They wanted and it had explained in there that they wanted the lamb or the goat or whatever it was. I'm not a farmer, don't laugh at me. But it was because that would produce milk for them, fresh milk for them all the time. And the chickens would lay eggs for them. I'm like, I was blown away by that. And I'm like, I gotta send some extra money to help these families out there and get them some of these gifts, because wow, I never look at it that way. Your story pulls at people's hearts, and people will open their wallets and purses to help you, even in the time of crisis. Reach out to them, share your stories. That's the best advice I can give you.
Roger, Nintendo still exists, so you're good there. Don't worry about it.
All right, good.
We got one last question for you. Would you recommend a certain cadence of communicating with clients and or prospects so we're not piling on to frazzle people, maybe something like once a week or twice a week?
Yes, so that depends on what you are doing, right? So I've been communicating with my contacts through social media and email and all that regularly. I rarely send out blasts because I like to. I know that if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, your mailbox is inundated with junk every day, like mine is. I literally get about 600 emails a day. And so I have a lot of respect for people when I communicate with them. But right now, times are different. A lot of the people I work with, I know they're in crisis mode, they're concerned, they're worried, they're looking for answers. Every time I have something of value to add to them, I will reach out to them. I wouldn't reach out to them just to say hello or hey, we're still here, this and that. But if I have something of value, I will reach out to them. Right now, for me, that's been almost daily, every other day at the latest, right? Because if I get a new update on, hey, how do you qualify for the SBA loan, and now there's this $10,000 grant for independent contractors or sole proprietors. If I get that information and the applications and the processes, I'm going to send it out to them. And guess what? The email responses that I'm getting are, thank you. I really appreciate you keeping us up to date. Thank you for doing these webinars and this and that. So I am actively offering them something that they need, so they're not going to care if they hear from me on a daily basis. Now, if I'm spamming them to let them know that I just won my challenge of Super Mario on Nintendo, keeping up with the old age game, then that's a different story. But if I'm actually adding value to my clients or to the recipients of my messages, then I don't get any complaints. I get a lot of gratitude.
Perfect. Thank you again, Roger, for this valuable information. And thank you to everyone who joined. As mentioned earlier, we do have additional webinars in the coming days that are designed to support our business. If you've not yet registered, please visit our page to register for our Resources at Your Service Today webinar with the Small Business Development Center and College of the Canyons. The title is Resources at Your Service Today. The webinar is scheduled for tomorrow. For additional business resources, please visit our website at scvchamber.com under the COVID-19 tab for more details. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Please be safe, be healthy, and let us know how the Chamber can help you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.